Hello and welcome to my review of Sevireth, Lord of the Seventh Wind for Lumineth Realm-Lords for Warhammer The Age of Sigmar. Now Sevireth will cost you £37.50 and consists of 26 plastic components. It's a dual build kit, so you can either build Sevireth, like the name character for Lumineth, or you can build a sort of standard Huracan Spirit of the Wind model, which does look a little bit different. I'm not sure which I prefer. I like them both. Maybe in hindsight, I prefer the look of Huracan. Will I get Huracan? I'm not sure. I don't like this model as much as Lyrior, and I think there's too many similarities between these two kind of jumping wind foxes, as I'd like to call them. But anyway, it's quite pricey. You know, you're only getting 26 parts, but I guess part of the price is that dual kit. I'm wondering whether they could have just, brought out one model to represent this. But again, as I said in the previous reviews, if you were fighting me and you had a normal Huracan Spirit of the Wind, then I'd have no issues of you proxying him as Sevireth. And I think that should be great. You know, why should we be spending sort of almost £100 on, let's face it, like one model in a way. So the format of this review is slightly different to, my recent reviews, in that I'll look at the model in detail up close. There won't be any spare parts because I probably bundled them away a long time ago when I built this 3 years ago. I'm not sure why I rushed to build all of these because I didn't bring out the reviews quickly afterwards. But then we will go through a load of size comparisons, including some of the models from the Lumineth range. And then finally at the end, I'll go through all of the rules found in, I think, the 3rd edition Lumineth Realm-Lords Battle Tome. You can't get the Battle Tome for them at the moment. Well, at least when I searched it on the web store, I couldn't find it. So that's what we're going to go through the rules with today. So let's have a look at the model itself then. Nice model, tricky to build. When you first set your eyes on this model, you think, how on earth am I going to, get the wind or these kind of tassels and things all kind of lined up? But it's possible, and it's fine, and it works, and they do match up. And there are joins, but with some Tamiya and with some strategic filing of joins like here, you aren't going to notice. It's a fantastic model that they've been able to sculpt and build. If you can say one thing about the Lumineth, they have definitely, pushed down a few barriers in terms of their creativity in creating these models, with quite a few of them actually. But yeah, I do like the sort of foxtail. Yes, I guess it's a furry. You've got all of these arrows in the quiver. You've got this really big bow. Sort of reminds me of Zelda in a way. Not as cool, but you've got the flaming arrow. You've got the bow that's strung in this horizontal way, like Sevireth is sort of firing down. I don't know whether he's aiming down, but yeah. You've got one of his you've got his legs there that are moving with the pose. Doesn't wobble too much, it's fine. But yeah, what a lovely looking mini. I really like it. So yeah, quite straightforward. Putting the joins on for the tassels and the wind, and there you go. So that's Sevireth. What we'll do now is we'll just go through some size comparisons. So the first one I want to draw your attention to is Lyrior, who I've recently completed a review of. And as you can see, Sevireth is quite a tall model. It's going to be one of the tallest Realm-Lords models, other than Teclis and Avalanor. Avalanor? Yeah, the big mountain type cow creature giant thing. But yeah, one of the tallest models you'll have for Lumineth. Compared to the banner blade right here, it's given Sevireth a run for his money. Probably same height, I'd say. Then we've got a wind charger, which you know, Sevireth will work very well with. You know, if Lyrior works well with the Sunbreakers, then Sevireth will work well with the wind chargers. Then you've just got a Blade Lord, so standard size mini. So that's where Sevireth measures up next to the rest of the realm, next to the rest of the Lumineth. Going to be one of the tallest models in the force, compared to some 40k miniatures. So we've got Primaris Space Marine on the right, and normal Space Marine on the left, and then we've got Slimarbo in the middle. So I don't think Primaris even comes up to, maybe comes up to that breach in the wind. But yeah, quite a tall miniature. Okay, now we're on to my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for Sevireth. Sevireth will cost you 300 points. He is a leader and a unique character. One of the most expensive models in one of the most expensive units, leader units in the Lumineth army. It's only 40 points cheaper than Alarith, Spirit of the Mountain, but is still over 2.5 times cheaper than Teclis, and is 2.5 times more expensive than a standard Hurricane Wind Mage, which would cost you 120 points, and that seems like a steal, a bargain compared to Sevireth. So what are you getting for these extra points? A bit like with Lyrior, but with Lyrior it's not a massive leap in points cost. That model was only 60 points more than the standard Regent. So with Sevireth you're getting a 24-inch movement, which is just incredible, really. Very, very fast model. The fastest model in the whole of Lumineth. The only model that comes close afterwards is Lyrior himself, and he's a movement of 16 inches, so a whole extra 8 inches. You're getting a save of 5+, a bravery 10, and 10 wounds. Not much of a difference between the stat line of a Hurricane. The Hurricane has 2 wounds fewer, has 8 wounds, but the same movement, but the same movement speed. Now, Sevireth is a named character that is a single model. He's armed with Enethrai, the Howling Death, and Swirling Shards. This model can fly. A Hurricane Spirit of the Wind is equipped with Bow of the Wind's Vengeance and Swirling Shards. So what do these weapons do? Well, Enethrai, the Howling Death, is a missile weapon. It's a range of 18 inches, 4 attacks, 2+ to hit, 3+ to wound, -3 to rend, and damage D3. How does that compare to a Hurricane's bow? Well, the Hurricane's bow has the same number of attacks, very easy to hit at 2+, again, same wound of 3+, but here's where it is where it changes, is just with the rend. The rend is -3 on Sevireth's, the rend is -2 on Hurricane's. Melee weapons, Enethrai, the Howling Death, it's a melee weapon as well. It's a range of 3 inches, 2 attacks, 2+ to hit, 3+ to wound, rend of -2, damage D3. Interestingly, that's exactly the same stat line as a normal bow of the Wind's Vengeance, and then Swirling Shards are both of the same for the profiles. Range of 3 inches, D3 attacks, 3+ to hit, 3+ to wound, -1 to rend, and 1 damage. Abilities. Into the Gale. Now they both have this Into the Gale ability. Roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to this model. On a 5+, that wound or mortal wound is negated. It's pretty nice. It's like a invulnerable save. In addition, subtract 2 inches from the distance enemy models within 3 inches of this model can pile in, up to a minimum of 1 inch, while they are within 3 inches of this model. Living Cyclone. Again, both of them have this. Roll a dice for each enemy unit that is within 3 inches of this model after the model makes a charge move. On a 3+, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound, and subtract 1 from hit rolls for that unit until the end of the next combat phase. A unit cannot be affected by this ability more than once per phase. But it's still once per phase, isn't it? You know, so you're getting that extra mortal wound at 3+, and you're subtracting 1 from their hit rolls. Very nice. Now, Sevireth has 2 extra abilities here that the Hurricane does not. Scour. At the start of the charge phase, you can pick one faction terrain feature that is within 1 inch of this model. If you do so, this model cannot charge in that phase, but you can roll a dice. On a 2+, the scenery rules on that terrain feature's war scroll cannot be used for the rest of the battle. That's interesting. So it affects the the scenery. Searing Desert Winds. After this model makes a normal move, including if it moves at the end of the shooting phase, pick one enemy unit that has any models that this model passed across and roll a dice. On a 3+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. That's pretty nice. So if you pass an enemy unit that has any models that the model's passed over, then 3+, that unit suffers a D3. So he is running past or winding past, I don't know what, past units and then causing each one of those units D3 mortal wounds. Very nice. Spirit of the Wind. Now, Hurricane has Spirit of the Wind and Wind Mage symbiosis. So Spirit of the Wind, at the end of the shooting phase, this model can make a normal move of 12 inches, but cannot run. It can retreat. In addition, this model can retreat and still charge later in the same turn. That's pretty good. So, you know, he can move, and then at the end of the shooting phase, he can make a normal move of 12 inches. So, effective range, basically effective range of 42 inches with an extra move of 12 inches. Pretty nice. And it can still charge as well. So it can retreat and it can still charge. Wind Mage Symbiosis. In your hero phase, if this model is within 12 inches of any friendly Wind Mages, you can heal up to D3 wounds allocated to this model. That's pretty good. So Wind Mages can heal D3 wounds on him as well, and he does have his 10 wounds. Keywords: Order, Lumineth Realm-Lords, Hurricane, Metrica, Hero, Spirit of the Wind, Sevireth. So there you go. Lots and lots of abilities there. So there you go. His main weapon, I would say, isn't that much better than a normal bow that the Hurricane has. It's only that extra -1 to rend. So, you know, you've got -3 to rend. And in terms of melee, it's the same. So it's not a bigger buff and it's not specific against certain factions. So it's not as big a buff weapon-wise as Lyrior, but the Searing Desert Winds is definitely a go-to ability to watch out for. And Scour can be useful depending on if you're near a terrain feature. But on the whole, shares the majority of the abilities with the Hurricane. It just depends on whether you want those extra 2 wounds and whether you want that extra -1 to rend and those two abilities, you know, Searing Desert Winds and Scour. Whether that's worth it for you, you know. But I think he is expensive, probably too expensive. I would have priced him at maybe 200, but at a push 250 points. But at 300, yeah, it's quite an expensive points costed model, I think. But what do you guys think of Sevireth? It's difficult to just get out of his way and him be running around and firing 4 attacks that, you know, rend your models and things. And also you've got to be careful of him just running past your units and inflicting those mortal wounds. So yeah, if you see one of these, it's going to be quite tricky to take down. You know, unless you've got something with a longer range than 18 inches, he can negate wounds or mortal wounds, you see, on the 5+. And he does have a decent number of wounds as well to tank. What do you guys think of Sevireth? Is he 2 points costed for a model with a 5+ invulnerable save that is super fast and has a very decent ranged weapon? Or do you think he's priced fairly for his damage output? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Techless protects.